Both and. That's what it takes to further our mission, to make a difference, to foster unity, health, vitality, both in our unwavering commitment to a flourishing Jewish community and in our drive to build a resilient network of partnerships. Our accomplishments over the past year have focused on 6 priorities: planning and partnerships, philanthropic growth, advocacy and dialogue, safety and security, convening and mobilizing, connecting and engaging, both to mark the progress we've made and to support the work that awaits. Through planning and partnerships, we are keeping our goals in sight and recruiting talented people to move them forward.
One of the most important things that the Federation does is community planning. Cincinnati 2030 was our community-wide strategic plan. The big goals of 2030 are very much part of the architecture of planning and allocation, so that we assure that all of the programs that we're funding are part of the strategic plan. The Federation's planning and allocations process is one of the most important and exciting opportunities for volunteers to get involved with the work of the Federation.
Talent management is certainly a part of Cincinnati 2030. We've got this beautiful vision. We're in the midst of creating a strategic plan. And in order to achieve that, we certainly need our volunteer boards and lay leaders, but also in order to accomplish it, we need talented professionals. And so it's critical. The best way for us to do that is to keep our talent here. There are over 600 professionals working in our Jewish community, so it's really important for the fabric and the culture of the Jewish community that we want to have here in Cincinnati.
Continued philanthropic growth requires continued funding, which has underscored our significant contributions to critical needs, as well as our robust annual campaign.
I'm really proud of our fundraising efforts this year because we had such an enormous task ahead of us with the Israel Emergency Fund and the annual campaign running concurrently. To be able to do that required individuals to step up probably more than they ever have in the past or in recent years, and our community did that, and it was a result of 50% more giving from individuals in our community than in years past to reach that goal.
As we raised money, we also raised our voice and played an active role in community relations to bridge differences and support meaningful legislation.
It has been challenging, enriching, thought-provoking, at times emotional. The fact that the cohort and our discussions started before the tragedy of October 7th and then carried on afterwards, and the way that shaped both the discussion but the connection that the group had, the speakers and educators that they've brought in that have pushed us to really think differently about our own way that we confront these things and speaking out, and what role silence plays in all of this has been incredibly powerful. And that could not take place if this were all, sort of a homogenous group.
To stay resilient, we need to remain vigilant, which is why we made significant improvements to safeguard the Cincinnati Jewish community.
Safe Cincinnati is really a gift to Jewish organizations in Cincinnati. It's the security arm of the Federation, and as such, it's available to all the Jewish organizations in Cincinnati. It provides us with not only the funding that we need to do things, it provides us with the guidance and the knowledge of how best to deal with hardening the buildings to make them secure, how to deal with getting personnel when you can't get it, active shooter training, and providing funding to do a lot of those things.
As events around the world unfolded, we demonstrated our ability to rapidly and effectively respond to multiple crises, both in our community and abroad.
After October 7th, a lot of our focus is on anti-Semitism because anti-Semitism has increased dramatically. We went from maybe 1 incidence of anti-Semitism per week to about 1 incidence of anti-Semitism per day. We worked with City Council, and I feel like our credibility paid dividends when it came time to deal with these issues of anti-Semitism in City Council Hall. That program was a nice, what I like to call a hug from, for the community, because even though you felt alone and even though you were grieving, and I think our whole community was grieving, we're still grieving, because we still have hostages that are being held.
Right after October 7th, it was really tough for a lot of Jewish students, but I was super grateful to have Hillel as that space, as that safe space to be, and to be surrounded by people who get it, who understand. A few weeks before winter break, our Hillel executive director, Rachel Kaplan, she came up to us and was like, hey, like we might be able to offer this free Israel trip for college students to go volunteer who would be interested. And I knew like immediately that that's where I wanted to be. I wanted to be back there to help in any way that I could. It was still full of life and full of hope, which was really impactful to see and honestly made me just more connected to Israel and to my Judaism.
And with the world's focus on Israel, we expanded our global outreach, reinforcing our commitment to an interconnected and engaged Jewish community.
JLive is the go-to source for Jewish community events for all ages. It's really meant to be a platform for different organizers of events to post their events, but also have a hub for folks to find out what events are happening in the community.
Here in Cincinnati, we wanted to do something tangible with the money we've raised through our Israel Emergency Campaign. The idea is no community is going to be left behind. During Passover, each community member received a bottle of wine with a card from Cincinnati and Columbus, as well as a special Haggadah that this Communities Together program had put together for all the communities that have been evacuated. The community put a video together for us. They had young kids thanking Cincinnati and Columbus for this very special gift at Passover. I can't tell you how heartwarming it was to see something in their hands that came from our community.
Together, we have shown our strength, both through our unwavering commitment and our steadfast resilience.
Both and.
Both and.
Both and.
Both and.
Both and?
Both and.
Both and.
Both and.
While this past year was full of accomplishments, we are poised to achieve so much more for the current challenges that await us, as well as the new challenges that arise, both for our community and for Israel as one.